We'll see. Anyway, I want to make sure I get right to what we're talking about today because there is a lot to cover. In every single one of these live streams, it does seem like there's so much to take care of that sometimes I almost feel like we're rushing it, and I don't want to rush it. By the way, I want to show you a little bit what's cool also on our background here. If you look up here at the left-hand corner, there's a little QR code, and I decided to add that. This is a trick also that our friend and mentor LaShonda Brown showed us, that we can share our QR code. So maybe you're watching this on your laptop or on your TV, but you also have your phone. You can scan that code and you can actually support us through our tip jar, which is based on Kit, which is where we share our emails and our landing pages and everything. So we have a little tip jar there where you can give to support God and Gigs. And maybe this information is blessing you. Maybe this is something that was like, wow, like I really needed that specific insight. And this is something I'd want to, just sow a seed back into the community. And trust me, everything that we're sharing here, all the funds, everything we raise pretty much, is the reason why we're able to keep this open, is because we have funding and support from people like you and our clients and our coaching memberships and all that kind of stuff. All goes into making this platform possible. So if you feel inclined, go ahead and scan that QR code and that you can share and support our God and Gigs community. Well, as I was just mentioning, we got so much going on today, so I want to make sure I get right to it. So we have our news and notes first, and that's always where we kind of just share what's going on in the God and Gigs community, including some new features I'd love to show that's happening on our app, which Julie actually is. I believe Julie, I don't know I think you're a member. I can't remember if you're a member yet, Julie, but I would love for you to be one if you're not already, because I want to show you some cool stuff that's happening there, as well as some local events here in South Florida area that I'm super excited about. I want to make sure I share them in case you're in South Florida, because you are certainly invited. Then we're going to get into our vital signs, which is always like the key thing that I want to focus on the most. And that is the lab work. I'm sorry, the vital signs is our mindset, our money mindset. That's what we're going to be talking about today, and whether or not we have kind of like this spiritual and mental block, an emotional block, which can sometimes limit the blessings that God wants to bring through our creative life, no matter what the economy is doing. Then we're going to get into our lab work, which I'll show you some things that are helping me to earn a new income stream, which is really honestly just sharing my recommendations and opinions. Some of you see this as our affiliate links, but I'm going to show you how you can do the exact same thing and actually get paid for your opinion, and really work with those people that you trust to share things that you know, like, and trust, and those apps and those tools that will pay you to share. But you're not doing so in a sleazy way. You're doing so in a way that serves other people. Then we'll get into our consult, where we'll share what was your first big paying gig. I'm really curious about this. I asked this question in 360, and we got some different answers. So I would love to know, what was your first ever paying gig, performance, publication? Like, when did you first get paid for doing what you do? And what was your experience? Because I think some of our mindsets about money come from whether or not we believe that first experience of getting paid was positive, negative, or if we really weren't sure what was going on. Finally, we'll get to our prescriptions, where we share what I would suggest next, which you can tell is to subscribe to our Creative Resource Center. Well, as I was mentioning, there are some super cool app features. Julie just said she does have the app. So this is awesome, because that means you can participate in this stuff, Julie. We have this new feature that Mighty Networks, which is the platform that we're built on, has rolled out, and they are called recognitions and streaks. And so what's so awesome about this is the way they did this. Now, I know there's a lot of gamification and a lot of different apps. Yeah, see, Julie right here says she does have the app, which is awesome. So there's a lot of gamification in these apps lately that, so you can get points for this and things for that and gold stars. And I'm even using a new app called Streaks that I saw someone else using, that I'm using to help me get my habits together, drinking more water, eating my vegetables, doing my workouts. So we all want some little recognition. We all want something to kind of motivate us to do what we already know we should be doing, right? So this is something inside our 360 app, which again, you can get at godandgigs.com/membership. And that makes you a member of God and Gigs 360. But they've added this thing where you can actually get points just for showing up in the app. Now, it would obviously be awesome if you come in and you comment, you come in and you post, like some of our friends have been doing. As a matter of fact, I was going to show you guys some of our members. Let me see if I can do this. I love actually showing off the members, but I'll have to make sure I can do a screen share. Let's jump in here and switch it up, because I would love you to see a little bit of the membership. And you can see here that we have our own little Facebook style, Slack style thing. But as you can see, we have all of these members here. And our new members, Anita, Aisha, our new member here, Pamela, who's been here for a long time, Jason, Semini, my beautiful wife, Leah, Charmaine is here. And there's Julie. There you are. I wanted to make sure you were there. That's another reason why I wanted to check. So yes, Julie, you have access to this. And what's really cool again is if you go over here and we click on this little star, you can see a daily streak. Now, as you can see, I have been there 16 straight days in the membership. So I've been showing up and whoa, I've racked up some points. So what's cool about the points is you can not just earn points for yourself, which of course is fun, but what it really is that you can use these points to recognize other members. I could send something to Julie and say, thank you for being so welcoming, or thank you for being encouraging, which is another value that we share in God and Gigs 360, or thank you for being innovative. So all of these different little badges I can give up. I can't see them there. I have to go back because I need to give some of these away. But that is where I can share these points and give them to another member. As a matter of fact, let's do a little fun thing here. Let's see if we can go back to members. And I'm actually doing this for the first time here, but I can actually see here where we can find somebody that we want to give points to. And Julie, right here, if I tap on your link, we can view your profile, and then I can tap recognize. And there you see, I can actually give a bit of points here for being encouraging. So we're going to do this right now. We're going to see if I can give an encouraging, because Julie is always encouraging me outside of the app, inside. And so if I tap here, recognize, and there you go. And this is what's so cool about these points. They are to generate more community and more connection between us. It is not just about being recognized for your own work. It's for you to recognize others. So I'm so glad, Julie. Thank you so much, because you really did help me just now to get my stuff back together. And so I appreciate you. And that's why I was so glad to give you that little point right there. And as you can see, that's how easy it is to recognize people using our app. Of course, this is on desktop. The same thing can happen on the mobile app. So that is just a sign of what we're doing with recognitions and streaks. I am so excited about this. So now you can see how it works. And if you join us at godandgigs.com/membership, you can be a part of this as well. Also, I want to make sure I remember to remind you that we do have the Creator's Craft on YouVersion. That's Bible.com. You can find us there. We're also waiting and praying for the release of the Creator's Purpose, which hopefully will come out right before Easter. If it happens to come out before that, we'll let you know. But right now, we're praying for it to come out around Easter. And if you want to check that out, you can simply go to godandgigs.com/creatorscraft. Once again, I think I have the banner. And as you know, every single time I think I have a banner, I don't have it. So we're going to go ahead and type it in again, because this is like every week. I don't know why it is that I think I have these banners that I never seem to have them. And it drives me crazy, but we're not going to get mad. There it is, godandgigs.com/creatorscraft. All right. Well, let's move on. These are just some of the announcements we want to make sure that we shared. And let's see, close that out. And let's move on to local events coming up. And so if you're in the South Florida area, this is important. If you're not in South Florida, I really hope we'll be able to bring some of these either virtually to some people, or you'll be able to take this on the road. When you see these events, you'll see why I would love to do this with other members inside our community outside of God and Gigs. Okay. Well, first of all, April 24th at 6:30 here in South Florida, Lauderdale Lake specifically. We're going to be doing our first, or actually it's our second, but our first Miami-Dade Broward is labeled this way. First Miami-Dade Broward podcaster meetup. Now, Podmatch, Alex Sanfilippo and Alicia Sanfilippo, who are amazing friends and podcast absolute leaders in the podcast community. They are helping us to put this on, but their heart is to connect local podcasters, not to sell tickets, not to build this big profit building kind of workshop clinic kind of thing. This is just networking, connecting with other podcasters who want to grow, and they're going to be joining us, meeting, finding out about local resources, maybe local podcast studios, other ways that they can connect and help each other. We're just going to be building bridges. And that's going to be at April 24th at 6:30 p.m. There is a link where you can RSVP. It's a little bit longer, so I don't have like a short URL, but I'll be emailing those of you in South Florida. Let me know if you would like to show up at this, and I will send you a link to RSVP and give you all the information on the address. But it's simple. You just show up and connect with other podcasters. Also, this is super cool. This is coming up very soon. And I was so blessed to connect with Dr. Melissa. Dr. Melissa is a certified speech and voice pathologist. She has been working with people all over the country in these amazing clinics to help people with their voice, with swallowing, with anything regarding the voice and the throat. And she is going to be joining with me to co-host a workshop on healthy voices, healthy podcasts. Now, this is what's so cool. She's actually going to be helping people to see what there's actually going on inside their voice. Yes, actually doing a scope. Now, I can't even name all the medical terms, right? She knows all the medical terms, but she's going to be doing scopes and actually helping people to see what's actually going on with your voice, with your voice box, and help you develop healthier ways. As you can see, even right now, I need this because I'm talking on the edge of my voice. And just within I started, I'm a podcaster and I need my voice. We all need our voices, but yet so many of us, including me, don't really know how to take care of our voice. So this is why it's so powerful that we're going to do this workshop May 3rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're going to be announcing this or giving out the link very soon. But if you're interested in this and you're in the South Florida area, please let me know because this will be a limited space, maybe 12 places tops that we can do because she's going to be doing this at a fraction of the cost of normally being able to have somebody actually look medically at your voice, at your throat, to see what you need, how she would recommend you doing things, as well as podcast tips, how to build your brand, how to build your podcast, as I've done with this and several other podcasts that I work with. This is going to be an amazing conference, amazing workshop. So please make sure that you connect with us so that we can give you the information if you're in South Florida. All right, we've gotten to this part. Julie, I see your question here about YouVersion. I'll definitely get with you because that is definitely something I'm learning more and more about and would like to help more people. It's definitely not it's definitely a roundabout way. It was a lot of favor that I got with God on that, but I'm learning more about that process. And so I would love to share what I do know so that you can, figure out if that will be a good thing for you. All right, let's go ahead and jump into today's vital signs. And today's vital signs is everything to do with money mindset. Now, this is a question I asked inside God and Gigs 360. And I would love for you to, as this is not the consult, but this is something I would love for you to respond to as you watch this. What is the most that you believe that you could charge and not feel uncomfortable? Here's why I'm asking you that question. Because a lot of people feel strange when it comes down to earning a certain amount of money, for being worth a certain amount of money, or asking for a certain amount of money. And what it says to us when we feel, wait, I couldn't possibly earn this much money for one position or one performance or one artwork. It makes me feel weird and uncomfortable to ask for 5 figures, to ask for 6 figures. I could never do that. That would make me feel like I am being greedy or not being, fair. But what the problem is what that really says about what we think, not about the job, not about the client, not about even the artwork. You see, your artwork can be priceless, but if we feel like there is a price limit that we can go to, it shows us that we are more concerned about our private and individual self esteem more than we are about the actual value that we can create. Because the value of something we can create could way exceed where we are mentally and physically and emotionally in terms of our mindset. Now, I was just reading this book that was gifted to me. We also got a chance to meet him via LaShonda Brown's workshop, Austin Church. I would love to get in touch with Austin Church later to see if he would like to show up on the podcast. But the reason why I love this is because we talked to him or read his book, Free Money, and he talks about money stories. And maybe you've heard this before. The fact that we have a money story, we tell ourselves a money story every time we interact or work, really every day that you earn a living. You're telling yourself a money story. When you show up for work, you are saying, hey, I have to be here. I need to earn this paycheck, or I need to get this performance done, or I need to earn this by writing this or sharing this or taking this photography because I need what is going to come back to me. But even as you make that statement, I need to work because I need money, you're also saying to yourself, in a sense, this is what I'm willing to give for this particular money, this particular exchange. Because obviously there are certain things that we would not do for a certain amount of money. I am not going to drive across town and do 3 hours of work for $10. That's a money story. I'm telling myself I am worth more than that. I am not going to do that. If it's charity, it's different, but I would not even want to be paid because that feeling of being paid that amount would cheapen or make me feel like less of a person. It would demean or make my, it would lower my pride. It would injure my pride, really. So that's a story that I'm saying, that I have certain standards. And I want to make sure that we as creatives, especially creatives who are gifted by God, are telling ourselves the right story, are telling ourselves the right, giving ourselves the right perspective about money. This month in April is really all about monetization in our best year ever framework. We created this framework at the beginning of the year where we're going to walk through monthly themes, all designed to help you have your best creative year ever. And we got to monetization this month after doing in January, we did spiritual alignment. Then in February, we did clarity and vision. And then in March, we did community. Here's why we followed that particular order. Alignment spiritually means we're really connecting with what God really wants for our creative life. And we're willing to take a chance and move in a different direction if he so directs. We're first spiritually aligned with God. We talked about that in our workshop with Marlita Hill about the call of the creative. Then in February, we talked about vision and the clarity of knowing what we're supposed to be doing, even again, if we have to shift it or mold it. But then we talked about in March, community, who you're doing this for or with. Now, here is the key of monetization. Most people get to this idea of money and they start to think, oh, this is all about just what I can earn, what is for me. But you have to see it in context of the first 3 months that we've already done in the best year ever. You see, if you are spiritually aligned, you're clear about what your calling is and what your vision is, and you connected with a community that really cares about the cause or the message or your art. Now, monetization and earning money is not about you only. It's aligned with what God wants for your creative career, what God wants for you to, who he wants you to bless, who he wants you to pour out new blessings to through your art, who he wants to plant a seed into through your art, and who he wants to plant seeds into your art. So you see, it's all connected now. Once you have a mindset of sowing and reaping, you have a mindset of I am serving other people by selling, because there's a proverbs that says that people curse the one who withholds the grain, but they bless the one who sells it. We have a lot of people right now who are in financial turmoil because of everything that's happening in the news, right? We can't control what's happening in the macro, but we can control what's happening in the micro. And that's how do we view our own money mindset and what we're able to offer and create for other people. And if God has put something on the inside of us, which is, he says in Proverbs, the power to gain wealth, well, then we should be exercising that ability to help ourselves and others to work in this kind of kingdom economy versus this scarcity mindset, or even worse, the starving artist mindset. What I really want to encourage you all to do is to do these three things. I put these little mantras or these little affirmations in our God and Gigs newsletter, the Creative Checkup newsletter, which I sent out on Wednesday. And I'm actually going to go and read it because I want to make sure I get it right. I might see it in my own email in a second. I'm just going to read out these affirmations. And I'm usually not big at affirmations. Well, let's see. It's not share. Okay, I want to make sure I'm not sharing anything. All right. Actually, I might pull this up so you guys can read it as well. Let me find the email so I can make sure I read these correctly. And I might put these up on my own wall just so I can read them myself, because I need to read this or think this as well. Yeah, you know what? I am going to pull this up. Let's open this up as a web page. And we're going to share this. And I want you to read these with me. Here we go. Let's remove this and add this. And here's where the newsletter is. You can always get this newsletter at godandgigs.com/info. But here are the different things that I'm going to be speaking over myself. And I would challenge you to speak them over yourself. I might want to make that a little bigger. Let's see if we can make it a little bigger, if you guys can see it a little better. Let's see. I think that helped. Yeah, that's definitely better. Okay. So that is what I wrote to my to our newsletter subscribers. And this is what I would like for you to say to yourself. I can expect to receive value because I create value. Selling is not selfish. Selling is service, and I am a faithful servant. Today, I will continue to build a creative business that honors God and creates a pathway for financial blessings. Someone is waiting for me to create something valuable and will be happy to pay for it. Now, as you read that, I wonder what your mental or your mindset is saying to yourself. Can you say to yourself, you can expect to receive value because you create value? Do you believe that selling is service? That offering your services is literally called service, right? You're offering your services is a service. It's not something that's selfish. And if you continue or start to build your creative business, that will honor God and it will create a pathway for him to bless you and other people. I wonder if that's already in your mindset, because if not, this is the beginning of monetization and any strategies. We can't talk about strategies to monetization if you don't believe that these things are good for you, that you don't see yourself as lacking or like you don't deserve to earn when you create value. Now, be careful. I'm not saying you just deserve to earn, period. When you create value, you deserve to earn the value that you have created and that you offer in the right way. So this is why I think it's so important that we have the right mindset to building a creative career and these monetization strategies. You see, if we didn't start with this, it wouldn't make any sense to talk about any strategies after that. So I hope that blessed you. And I really will make sure that these affirmations will be placed somewhere where we can see them more often. Because as I said, the more I look at them, the more I realize it's important to share these. So I'm going to make sure that these are put up in our membership so that we can say them, so that we can talk about them Are we fixing our money mindset to where we're not thinking scarcity, but we're thinking in abundance, where we see that God has blessed us to do certain things? Now, I want to go back to a question before we move forward, because I did ask this question at the beginning. Julie answered. I asked, how much would you be willing to charge? And so Julie asked for a gig, for a lesson, for a workshop. It's especially hard when charging Christians. I hate that my services are not available to people without enough budget. I should probably charge more. Julie, this is the number one issue most of us are dealing with. I am so glad you brought this up, because that is where I think a lot of us struggle. It is, as a matter of fact, if you go back to God Engaged episode 327, I think it is, with Katie Jones. She is a Christian financial counselor. So literally her job is to work with Christians about money. And she herself said she struggles with the fact that when she doesn't charge enough for Christians, because she's trying to give them a break, they don't take it seriously. And then she ends up realizing that the only people who really get something out of her services are the people who pay top dollar, who pay and invest outside of a discount, who don't need a discount, who pay full price. And they are the ones that get the most out of it. I think the Bible is so clear about this when it talks about whose much is given, much is required. And when we give people kind of like that out of, well, I don't want to stress your budget. I don't want to push you to pay what it's really worth. What we're really saying is we don't really believe in them and their capacity to grow. Because it goes with giving. I know this usually gets really murky because it's a giving strategy. It's a giving principle that when you give, you shall receive. And the bigger you give of a seed, the bigger the harvest. But it's also true in selling. It's still sowing and reaping. If you provide a better service, there should be a bigger cost for it. And that cost then helps that person who just paid for it receive better, because they are willing to give or ready to buy something that is of higher value. And when you're ready to pay more, you get more. It's simple as that. And so us as Christians, when we are too much into this charity kind of, oh, well, I don't want to stress your budget. Again, what I really think we're saying is we're really limiting people who are able and willing to pay. They don't see us as valuable because we cheapen our own value before we even get to those people. And God has people in our circles who are willing to pay what we should charge. I would never walk up to a Christian who owns a Rolls Royce dealership and say, well, you believe in God and I believe in God. I think you should discount this Rolls Royce, because I've just discounted all of the work that goes into the people who made that Rolls Royce, all of the people who have put their blood, sweat, and tears into making this a fantastic car that only a few people will ever really be able to afford, right? And then I think because the person across from me shares my belief that they should cheapen it, I just don't think that's biblical. And I think us as creatives, a lot of times that's what we do. We cheapen a priceless or a great work because we are afraid of what other Christians will say or what other people will think of us. And this is exactly why we're dealing with money mindset. This is the key. If we don't deal with money mindset first, strategies go out the window, because none of us will raise our prices. None of us will charge what we're really worth. None of us will open the door to these blessings if we're still dealing with this money issue. So Julie, thank you for your transparency. That was literally the reason why I knew I had to do this particular talk first before we talk about strategies and how to earn this and how to charge this. And like all of that means nothing if we can't get this money story right. I would also recommend the book Free Money by Austin Church. We gave away a couple of copies during our best year ever. I would love for more people to check that book out. Austin Church, Free Money. That's where you can find that. I'll also make sure there's a link in our recommended books as well. I haven't updated that yet. Terry Davis, good to see you there, sir. Thank you so much. Or I shouldn't say sir. I said, good to see you there. And I am appreciating everybody that's joining us on replay as well. If you are enjoying this, if this is blessing you, please subscribe to this channel if you're new to the YouTube channel, or follow us on Facebook, follow me on LinkedIn, like this particular video, because that is where we really help. It helps us to share this with more people. It helps the algorithm see that we're not just out here talking to nobody. It really is a blessing to help people to find this by liking and helping this. All right. So I forgot I had this. I want to do a little fun thing. We've got a little fun switch up. So we're going to go into our stinger and we're going to go into the next section of our presentation. All right, you saw that. I like this. This is getting more and more fun to have a little production value. Thanks, LaShonda, for all your great ideas. I love kind of adding to this experience with things like stingers and fun stuff like that, which we use through StreamYard. Once again, big shout out to StreamYard. Something else I invest in that, hey, you know what? The more I invest in it, the more I want to use it properly. Once again, the reason why it is important to invest into your own gifting and invite other people to invest in their gift. By the way, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to support us, you can always do so with that little QR code. You can scan it with your phone and you can give to God and Gigs and help us to create things like this right now. So we are now talking about the monetization strategy that we've been using recently, which is monetizing our recommendations. So you might think to yourself, okay, I'm not a YouTube influencer. I'm not a influencer in terms of like, YouTuber. I'm not one of these guys that have all these followers and links and go to this affiliate code and this code and give you 20% off. So you might think I'm none of those things. I've seen that on YouTube and on social media, but I am not one of those people. Well, if so, don't worry, because I'm not either. But this is some things that I want to show you, some tools that I'm using that are helping me to monetize my recommendations. And so basically all this means is when I have a tool like StreamYard, when I like a certain thing and I have really, found some value in it, and somebody says, hey, can you share this link and we will pay you a little commission every time you share it? That's affiliate marketing. Simple as that. You are affiliating yourself with a product and you're saying, hey, I like this product. If you will click on a particular link, you'll get credit for that. And Amazon does this probably more than anybody else. You've probably seen this all over the place where Amazon influencers or Amazon associates, where there's a little link and every time you click on it, I am one as well. We do have an Amazon store. Once again, I don't know if I have the link to my Amazon store, but we do have one. And let's see. Every time I go looking for something, it makes me so sad. Oh, I think it's actually here. Actually, no, it's not godagainst.com/shop. So anyway, we do have an Amazon store. I have so many links I had to keep up with you guys. So this is how we monetize the recommendations we have. So you know what? Instead of me talking about it, once again, I should just go there because I actually should remember where it is and I don't remember where it is. And we need to have links for all of these things. And I always seem to forget. So give me 1 second. Let's go there. And let's see if we can find our store. Let's see. Storefront. Here it is. And so you might not even know that we had a store, but we do. And here it is. Oh, I got to get rid of this. So here's our store, and this is the back of the store, but this is the back end. And this is where you guys can see our recommendations on Instagram. I'm sorry, on Amazon. And so if you want to see what we recommend for our podcast setup, I can click there. And here are all the things we recommend for those of you who want the podcast. And I honestly, like, this is the bargain basement version because many other people might have a much more robust podcast studio, but this is all we use. My MacBook, my iPhone, which I don't even necessarily use all the time anymore. I could just use my face what you call the camera right here on the laptop, and a couple of cables, the mic stand, and that's it. So, but if you would like to check these things out, you can buy them. And then when you buy them, we get a link. We get commission from these particular links. But as I'm saying, you're literally watching me use this equipment as I go. So I'm not sharing anything that I wouldn't recommend because I'm literally using it. So when I share it, I just signed up for an Amazon Associates account, and now I get links or I get commissions when people share or actually buy through this particular page. Another one that's working for us super well is Skip. And now some of you have joined Skip because of my recommendation, and I'm so glad because Skip has been awesome for me. Once again, you can go to godandgigs.com/skip. Well, actually, all of these links are at our toolkit. So instead of me going to individuals, probably should just say go to toolkit, godandgigs.com/toolkit. That's where all of our affiliate links are. But once again, you can do this same thing. If you see a specific tool that you enjoy, let's say you are using a certain keyboard. Well, keyboards might be a little bit trickier because, I mean, Nord and some of the other things, they have like strict guidelines for becoming a Nord artist. So probably not good to use keyboards. Probably better to use something like a software service, right? A particular software service that you enjoy. And you're like, I like this. I really, really use this all the time. You simply go in and just say, hey, do you have an affiliate program? And now there's particular affiliate programs that work with a lot of different things like Rewardful. And there's also Commission Junction. I've been a part of some of these for a long time. So they have several different programs under their belt. But really all you need to do to start with this is just go to your tools that you enjoy and find out if they have an affiliate program. And if they have an affiliate program, a lot of times it'll be super easy to simply apply or sign up. And here's the next thing that you might be thinking. I need to have a whole bunch of people following me. That's not true. If you have just a few people that know, like, and trust you, and you know them, it's just like recommending a restaurant to someone that you know, and they trust your advice. And you're not trying to get 1,000 people to go to this restaurant. You just want to tell your friend. And the restaurant says, so cool. Oh, can I give you some points or can I give you a free meal for sharing this? And you're like, of course, I love a free meal. And I would love my friend to check this out. Okay. So this is the whole idea of monetizing your recommendations, affiliate marketing, using tools that you already use and like, and sharing them with the people who know, like, and trust you. And this again has been helping us in Buzzsprout for our podcast. It could be small amounts. It doesn't have to be $1 million brand deals. We're just talking about getting started. Now, of course, after this, you can move into sponsorships and brand deals and doing ads and placements and things like that. But I'm just want to get you to the beginning stages of considering your recommendations as being valuable. And if you start to see them as valuable, you start to look up affiliate codes. We can work with you, especially inside God and Gigs 360. We're going to be talking about some of the specific affiliate memberships and partnerships that I've used that are starting to really yield some fruit, and other ways that you can earn money from your recommendations. But once again, if you want to see the tools that we are recommending, you can go to godandgigs.com/toolkit, and all of those will be affiliate codes. So once again, when you go to these places, you are supporting us. Because when you click through and if you decide to buy, only if it works for you, we do get a commission off of that. But again, I'm perfectly okay saying this is how we support God and Gigs without having to charge exorbitant fees for some of our services, because these brands are able to support us. And the more that you support these brands, the more the brands support us. So that's why it's a great system of not trying to take advantage of anyone, but we're actually helping everyone. It's a win-win-win when it comes to this. Okay, so I would love for you guys to check that out, and hopefully that gave you some inspiration to go out and monetize your own recommendations and check out for affiliates that will resonate with your audience, with your community, and with your friends, and where you can earn an additional income stream. Okay, awesome. Okay, let me see. Question. Let's do this while we're talking about, actually, you know what? I kind of want to do the consult. So I'm going to go ahead and play our stinger one more time. And then we're going to bring up these questions. These are some great questions that we're going to do in the consult. So let's come back and we'll get right into the consult queue. All right. So as we're getting into the consult, I want to ask you this question. But first of all, well, I'll ask you this question first, and then I want to get to these other questions that have already been asked. I wonder, what was your first ever gig or work that you were paid for? Because I think this has a lot to do with how you see money, how you see gig work, how you see being a freelancer or an entrepreneur. A lot of it has to do with that very first step that you took. So, first, though, I want to get to this question over here. Um, Terry asked, is any suggestions for monetizing music I have in print? That is a great question. Okay, so music that you already have in print. So here's the thing. When you say it's in print, I'm assuming that means that you already have, scored it. It might be for a certain band, for a certain arrangement. I'm assuming it's original music because you can't really monetize music you've written for somebody else's music. You have to pay royalties on that if you're going to be arranging it and then selling the arrangement. There's some legal stuff that you got to make sure you're covered there. So I want to make sure that I'm assuming that this is your music, monetizing music that you have in print that you have written. Okay. So the first thing I would say is think in terms of the music itself. Who would you want or would like to play or read this music? Now, if you are writing for, let's say, a school or a band or for educational, obviously that's a place where you can sell to a specific school district. You can sell to people who are willing to commission, or basically it is commission if you're writing for a particular ensemble. They commission that work, right? So this is already written, but you might have somebody that says, hey, I really need a piece that does this, blank, blank, blank. And they're like, oh, you tell them, hey, I will license this or let you play this. I'll write it for you and you commission it for that specific performance. That would be one way to do it. Now, overall, okay, yes, it's original. Awesome. Good to know. Now, overall, though, I want to kind of get away from the print part and just talk about the monetization of your music in general. In general, there's many different ways that you can look at your music, obviously beyond performing it, and say, how can I let other people be paid for this if they want it? And that's where you have to decide who wants this music, who would want to own a piece of this music. If it's just music that you wrote and they've never heard it, unlikely that they're going to actually just ask for, hey, I want to play this or I want to have this. So you got to go out and look and say, who would want to hear this, right? First, which is what all of us music artists have to do. We have to figure out who likes this music, who would want to hear this. And then secondly, who would want to perform it for those people. Okay. So those two things, you have to answer that question. Now, let's say something for like, I would say for me, it would be kind of like my charts for jazz, right? My charts for my own music. No one's actually going to probably play that music except me at this point. However, let's say I go out, I perform this music with my band, and somebody loves it. They're like, oh my gosh, I would love to play this as well. Well, I could say it. Might say, hey, I want to play this music. Do you have the sheet music? And I can say, well, yes, I have the sheet music. It's right here. It's such and such and such amount cost. You can just buy the PDF and you can perform it as well. And I could just say, hey, just make sure there's acknowledgement, obviously, because it's my piece, right? Make sure I'm acknowledged when you perform it. But you can buy the sheet music to it. But I have to perform it for them first so that they want it. So this is why I'm saying think in terms of monetizing your music in the sense of publishing it, which of course publishing means sharing it. And you have to get it out there so people would actually want to either perform it, buy it, or have you come in and play it. Again, this is more performance when I'm talking about that side. The side of sharing it means you have to get other people involved who want to perform it and who want to share it. Okay. So that would be my answer to you. This is something we can definitely dive into more in future conversations. I would love to kind of hear what what genre you're playing in, what you're trying to do, if you're doing it as a composer, which like I said, composing is more in like the commission base where you want people to pay you as you write, or you're a songwriter, so you're writing music for other artists, and that is like the monetization strategy where you're actually in the room with other people, you're writing music for them or writing music with them. So Got to get more details, but hopefully I gave you kind of like a good overview of monetizing music. Is that you got to get it in front of people, and number two, you got to have a format in which they would want to purchase it, which in this case looks like you're printing it. And again, that's where you'd have to make sure that they are interested in performing it for themselves. Hope that helped. And yeah, that's a great question. I want to go back to Julie here. I think this is back to where we were talking about the payment, how much to charge. Julie says, especially in the area of voice lessons, I will sometimes cut the opportunity to train worship leaders if they're struggling financially, but maybe I'll find worship leaders who aren't struggling if I stick to my professional rate. I think you just answered your own question. That for sure is probably the answer. When we, and I struggle with this too, again, literally in God and Gigs, I struggle with, if I raise my prices, am I moving my audience to a different kind of audience who maybe I'm not serving? And here's where I would say, if you want to serve an audience that is not in your price point, you should create a whole nother program that is not designed to make you any money. That is simply designed to help those people. And you can say that at the get-go, like, hey, this particular program, I want to serve you. This is not going to earn me the money that I should be earning. So I am simply going to create it as almost like as a ministry, as a service to people, because I believe in this particular service. I believe in this community, but this is not my main gig. This is not what pays the bills. And make it clear that you are offering this at a discount because it is worth so much more. And let me go over here on the flip side to make sure I get this. Aside, this gig wasn't worth the lower price, and she booked a higher price. See, this is exactly what we're talking about. So yes, Julie, you are literally right on time. All of your comments are echoing what we're trying to share. Is you have to learn and get your mind around being able to charge what you're worth. I am right here, the exact same struggle where I am learning my rates. I am learning how to say, I am not going to say yes to this until I have a specific budget that I know is worth my time. And remember, time is money. I can't earn that time back. I can maybe earn the money back if I don't take the gig later, but I cannot earn the time back. And so realizing that this is an investment in time and money every time you step out of your door to do a service is actually you being a good steward. So I love the fact that we were talking about this, that we're actually getting to the meat of why we sometimes struggle as creative Christians, as faith-focused creators and entrepreneurs to charge what we're worth. It's because this is a mental battle. Okay, this is a mental battle that we're facing. And I do believe that one of the things that God and Gigs is really leaning into is the fact that we are willing to have these discussions. A lot of people are not willing to have these discussions because they feel like it's just weird or makes them feel strange to talk about money and God at the same time. But as you probably heard in many a church service, God talks about money probably more than any other subject, more than love, more than anything else. The topic of money pops up over and over. So creators, we should be willing to talk about it. And that's why I'm so glad we're doing this. And yes, Julie says, wow, like I have this service. I will only do this for a limited number of people, etc. After that, I must charge what I'm worth. There you go. 100%. I could not echo this any better. So speaking of, let me quickly because I almost forgot, we do need to get to our recommendations in terms of what I believe you should do next. And so what I would love for you to do next is to go and jump into our resource library. Our resource library is at gottagigs.com/resources. And speaking of funding, well, it is only $10 a month. Why did we keep it at $10 a month instead of our $65 a month gold program? Because just like we talked about with Julie, I wanted to make sure that there was no barrier between you and getting the answers that you need. So if you join our $10 a month God and Gigs resources page, which is our creative resources, you get access to our app, which Julie has been talking about. We shared it earlier, our exclusive app where you can connect with all of our creators, over 65 creators now who are in our app, as well as all of our workshops. That means when they go live, You can attend them without paying a $10 charge for each individual workshop. And you also get access to all of the workshops we've done already. This includes on tax planning and how to build a creative business with an income stream that will support your creative lifestyle, how to build podcasts, how to do the monetization strategies that we're going to talk about, because I'm getting ready to book our next workshop, which will be with someone who is all about profit and creativity. So you will get access to that workshop without having to buy another ticket ever again, simply because you'll already be subscribed. So you can join that at gottogigs.com/resources. Now, there is also our gold membership, which is $65 a month, where you get live coaching. I'm going to be meeting with our mastermind coaching group on probably Sunday. Monday, I end up having a rehearsal, so I'm not going to be able to do that on Mondays. Usually we do it every Monday, but this time we're going to do it on Sunday, I think. So for those of you who are in the gold group, I'll be sending that notice to you right away. So gottogigs.com/memberships shows you all of our options. But if you just want to jump into the recorded workshops, access to the app, and access to each individual workshop, including the live ones, you'll want to go to gottogigs.com/resources. Okay. Oh, awesome, Julie. I see you got to run, but thank you so much for joining us. I love your participation, and I hope to see you in 360 more often because you got a great amount of knowledge to share. As she's been on the podcast before, I got to make sure I look up her episode as well, so I share that later on. But Julie is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, we're on the way out, but make sure once again that if you want to join us, go to gottogigs.com/memberships. Or if you want to go right to, and you want to skip the line, you want to go right to the resources page, go to gottogigs.com/resources. A couple of other things I want to make sure I tell you about. Now, if you are really, really, really feeling like, you know what, I'm not getting what I need out of, just my creative life in general. I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need something else that's going to help me kind of get myself together. Well, my friend, I really want to offer you this free resource that'll help you see where you're at in your creative life. It's at gottogigs.com/quiz. This is super cool. This will show you your creative personality right now. So if you're like, okay, I don't really know if I'm in the corporate space, am I conflicted? Am I feeling like I don't know where to put this kind of this space that I'm in as a creative right now. And you're trying to figure out where you're at. This is designed for you. And what's so cool about this is after you take this quiz, about 5 or 6, maybe 7 question quiz, it will then take you to some pages where you can then get our personal recommendations on what to do in each area of your creative life. Let's say if you are feeling conflicted, if you're stuck in corporate, if you're trying to figure out if you should step forward in full time or not, wherever you are, this quiz will give you the solutions and the answers. And you can also then invest in just a small fee to get additional resources, and it may even lead you to jump into our membership. So gottogigs.com/quiz is where you can find that. An amazing, amazing little resource that sometimes I forget to mention, but this will be highly beneficial for you if you've been questioning, okay, where do I go next? Should I monetize? Should I not monetize? Should I go full-time? Should I not go full-time? Should I, join my creative community at my church? Should I go live full-time in terms of like doing this outside of church? This is where you can get those kind of answers at gottogigs.com/quiz. Well, my friends, we covered a lot of ground. We did a ton of stuff. I'm so glad you joined us. If you're watching on replay, once again, please let me know if you are watching on replay. And let me know those answers to those different questions. Like I said at the beginning, I'm probably gonna have to chop off that beginning where you couldn't hear me. So if you got to that part, you're like, what happened? Thank you for sticking with it the whole time. Also, remember, if you want to give and support us, you can just click on or really scan this code up here at the edge where it says where that QR code is. It will take you to a link where you can give to God and Gigs. And again, this is where you support us, and you have not because you asked not. So I'm letting you know every dime, every dollar helps us to continue to build this channel, to build this platform, to build this network where we can help you become the creative that you were created to be. This is where, again, I believe we're creating a community unlike any other. There's many, many other faith communities that we need, but I don't think there's one that has the kind of voice, the space, and the place that we share what we share here, specifically in this manner. So I would love for you to support it. Again, you can check out that QR code and you can give to God and Gigs whatever amount. We would bless you, pray about it, and just see what the Lord leads you to do. I would love to really just thank you in advance for that kind of support. Well, my friends, that's it. We got to run. I got another meeting coming up, and we got so many other cool things that are coming. So I will see you on Monday for our godandgigs.com/podcast. That's where our podcast will be coming out, as well as some other things. But until next time, continue to become the creative that you were created to be. God bless, and I'll see you next Friday for our next Creative Checkup.